Hey everyone, Quentin here, and I'm making a tutorial on how to do those text effects that I do for my thumbnails. Anyway, let's do this. I'm working with a Dutch version of Gimp, but I have an idea of what everything is called in English. For a thumbnail I use 1215 and 717. So that's this. Now we're going to change the background color to whatever. I'm just using something random. I don't want it to be white because I'm going to be working with white text. So here we go. Now we're going over to the text tool. I'm going to use the font Liberator Bold because I think it's a very nice one. And for the text we do Gimp text tutorial. Okay, we're going to center the text and we're going to increase the size quite a bit. Now we're going over to this tool here. I'm not sure what that's called. You select image, double click on the text layer, and then you center it like so. Alright, and then we'll go over to, we'll just select the move tool. And now we go to alpha to selection, then we expand it, and we do that with 3 pixels. Now we go over to the fill tool. We change the foreground color to black, and now I always have problems with dragging the layer down here. Anyway, we want the new layer that we made under the text layer. Now we click with the fill tool onto the text, and as you see, we get a border around the text. Looks pretty nice so far, but that's not just what we want to have. So you duplicate the black layer, you select the lowest one, you go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and we want to select 30, both horizontal and vertical. Alright, now this is quite strong, so we're going to reduce that to about 60, 50 seems alright, and then with the move tool we're going to drag it a little bit to the bottom right, so we get a sort of shadowy effect. As you see here, I do it a bit by hand and with the to see if it's alright. That looks good. Alright, now we do alpha to selection. Now we use the square select tool, alpha to selection on the text layer, by the way. Now we use the square select tool, or rectangle select tool, and we use the cut option, that's the fourth one, and we want to select this right here, the Gimp text, just one part, because we're going to use a gradient, and if you would use the gradient from the top of this text to the bottom of this text, then the gradient would flow very differently from what we actually want. You just have to trust me on that one and just follow this step. So what I like to use for foreground color is FF8AOO. Even if I'm going to use a different color, I recommend using this. So FF8AOO for foreground, and background 492A06. Now we go to the gradient tool, make a new layer, and that layer will be above the text layer. Now from the top of the text to the bottom of this text here, we want to drag it, and as you see we get a gradient on the text. Now there are a bit of white dots here on the screen. To get rid of those you just have to hide the text layer and then make it appear again, and then it's gone. So we're going to do the same that we just did with the tutorial word. So alpha to selection, square selection tool, a rectangle selection tool, and then we select tutorial. We go to the new layer with the gradient, then we select the gradient tool, and we drag from top to bottom. Now as you see here, we have a gradient. It's still quite dark, so what you can do is move the gradient layer below the text layer. Now it's white, you select the text layer, you go to mode, and you select soft light. Now it's a lot brighter. I'll show you the difference here, and this is with the soft light. So now you might be thinking, well, I want a different color. Well, this is why I recommend using those two colors, because those two colors work very well together, and now you can just change them. So we go to colors and then change color, And as you see, you can just select the tint and the brightness and the opacity of the colors. So let's say I want a bit of green. I drag it to green, change the opacity a bit and the brightness, and there we have green. But let's say I want blue, well, or purple or pink. Blue. Yeah, that's blue enough. I want it a bit brighter, so change the brightness. Opacity is a bit much, so I want it lighter, or I want it very strong, so you change the opacity. So this is how you can just simply change the color of it. But I recommend using just these colors and then changing it if you want to. Anyway, this looks nice, but we're not done yet. There are a couple of things you can do. What I've recently found out about is you can use a script, FU, layer effects, and bevel and emboss. It's automatically installed in Photoshop. Gimp doesn't automatically have it, so you have to install it. Anyway, we're going to bevel and emboss, and here it is. This is in English because it is installed and isn't actually in the original Gimp. We want to use inner bevel, and then I think we'll go for depth of 3, 5, just experimenting a bit. Let's see how this looks and if it's nice or not. So that's done. Oh, that looks very nice actually. Alright, so for the values I used depth 3 and width 5, and now we get this kind of shadowy 3D effect, as you can see right here. Looks very nice. Alright, we're almost done. Now we want to give it a sort of glossy effect. So go to the circular select tool, then use the cut option, the fourth one. Now alpha to selection on the Gimp text, and now create a new layer above the Gimp text layer. Now you want to select, as you can see right here, this text right there. Alright, and what you did, you selected this specific place here. So now we're going to change the foreground color to white. Go to the gradient layer, and you want to go foreground to transparent. Now on the new layer, we hit Control, so we can go straight up with the gradient, and you want to select it not all the way to the top, but somewhere on the way. Alright, so now we have a bit of a glossy effect. It's not done yet. The white doesn't look amazing, but we're going to change that. So alpha to selection again. Alpha to selection on the text layer. Now the circular select tool, and we select text. Now we go to the gradient tool, go to that other layer with the gradient on it, and we drag it here as well. Now the last one, it could be a bit tricky because we have that text layer here, and cutting just this could be a bit difficult. So we're going alpha to selection, then we're going to use the rectangle cut tool, then the circular cut tool, and now we're going to try to get a nice cut onto this. Now we go to the gradient layer, to the gradient tool, and hit Control again, and we drag up a bit, and then let go. Alright, now you see we have a sort of gradient. Now I don't like the whiteness, so I'm going to select the gradient layer, the one with the gradient on it, go to mode, and I'll go to soft light. Might be a bit strong, so you might want to change it a bit by going lower with the opacity. If you like it, you can go high. And yeah, that is the tutorial. So this is how I do my text effects for my videos and for my thumbnails. So I hope it was helpful. If it was, please leave a like and a comment. And yeah, if you would like to see more tutorials, then let me know. Anyway, that was it, and I'll see you all later.